Guys, go make a cup of tea. We're going to sit down and we're going to have a Katie Price Lee Andrews update, okay? Right, are we comfy? Are we seated? Have we got our cuppas? Let's get into it. So my little Manny woke me up at 3:20ish this morning, and I've been up since because I couldn't get back to sleep. This is that's normal for me. If I get wakened up, that's it, game over. Now, what I chose to do in that time, was I productive? No. Did I do any meaningful work that would benefit my family financially? No. What I did do was I went onto the Sun online and I watched the whole 15-minute, whatever long Katie Price interview, and then subsequently went and found the podcast that had Lee Andrews' ex on it. And when I tell you it was interesting, I'm not even kidding. So, what did I learn? Nothing out of the ordinary. However, my mindset changed very slightly after watching both. So when I was watching the Katie Price box, I did that one first. I thought to myself, you are an idiot. Like, I kept thinking, what an idiot. And I think I had that notion because I had learned a couple of days ago that Katie Price has actually been on a TV show before that was teaching about how to spot red flags in men. So I thought to myself, you are wise enough to know that he is a walking red flag. Every time that Clemmy was asking her questions or putting things to her, like, this is what's happening, she was like, well, you're going to have to ask Lee. And I was just like, getting so frustrated and wanting to scream at the phone because that's what I was watching on. However, I did change my mindset a little bit after listening to his ex, because she even sort of stuck up for Katie in that regard. So the ex had said, when I watched her one, that what Lee does, it's not just your standard love bombing, it's so much deeper than that. And I think unless you've lived it, you can't relate to it. I have lived in a love bombing situation before, and I get that, and I do get that you are completely blinded. However, I've not had anything by the sounds of it that's as deep as what these women have experienced with him. Because what he does is he mirrors the women. I have got zero lived experience of that. Basically, he finds out, which would have been really easy to do about Katie Price, but he finds out your likes, your interests, your hobbies, anything that makes you sparkle, so your glimmers, and he will then reflect them onto you. Like, he mirrors it, and he pretends that he's also into all these things, so you're instantly like, oh my god, like, he's my soulmate, we're a match made in heaven, it's meant to be. Now, I can't imagine how that must feel, to think that you have met this person who is so like you and has all the same likes and interests, because biologically there must be an absolute magnetic pull to that, and he has learned this and absolutely exploited it, and it's crazy to think of the damage you could do when you get into somebody's psyche like that. So back to the Katie Price thing. During the interview, Clemmy I think it frustrated me was Katie Price was talking over so much, and I felt like Clemmy should have just been like, wait a second, but she was obviously trying to keep her boundaries but do her job as a journalist and just let her talk and hope that something of substance would have come out while she was talking. But it just felt really rude the way that Katie was talking over her. And there was a few things that Clemmy had said that didn't get addressed because Katie talked over her and Clemmy didn't pull it back to the question. So that was frustrating. However, like Clemmy was saying, like, what about all these like women who have come forward? There's like 7 women. And she was like, is there? Kind of, dismissing it. But then again, they didn't address it. We didn't get at, well, who are these women? Because Katie's like, well, I've only spoken to 3 exes, but actually there's 7 apparently that's come out. One of the people she spoke about was this woman, I think it's one from America, who'd invested 120, I think it was like 25 grand or whatever. Now, Clemmy was like, he has scammed. Like, he is scamming these women. And Katie Price is saying, like, well, how's he scammed them? And she's like, well, look at the women who invest all that money. She's like, yeah, but I don't know how investments work. You'll have to ask Lee. Like, I don't deal with that. So basically, she's pleading that she's ignorant to stocks and shares and bonds and whatnot, not addressing the fact that he manipulated these women into investing in him for the sole purpose of exploiting them and taking their money. That in itself is what the scam is. But Katie's got these fucking glasses on where she's like, I don't see that. You know what I mean? She still sat there to that day, is under the guise of that he is a legitimate businessman who does stocks and shares and trades and stuff and investments, and that he is genuinely investing people's money, and it just so happens he doesn't get a turn on any of these things. And I think to myself, and I'm like, come on, like, surely to God, because even Clemmy's sitting there, she's like, but he took money from me, stole from me, and he's had like 13 days to give it back before he went into jail. And again, Katie Price is like, you'll have to ask Lee about that. And it's just like, fucking hell, like, you just want to throttle her. Like, it's so frustrating to see her sat there so ignorant. But again, I have never been involved in a man who is that manipulative, so I wouldn't know how to feel in that moment. It's really hard. But like Clemmy was saying, he was saying he's getting this light, he's coming here, and he said that to me, and he also said it to you. And Katie was like, well, yeah, no. And it's like she just dismisses the red flags. She did, however, say, and again, it's something I wish Clemmy had pulled up on, she did say that she knew about the flight ban, but my thing with that is Katie had lied at the start and said, no, there is no flight ban, he's not got a travel ban. That was only a mere few weeks ago, or I think like January, February time. She was definitely saying that, because I remember her coming out and saying, well, I won't be going to Dubai again, he can come to me. But now she's flipped it. She's like, oh no, he was honest and he told me that he had the travel ban. So which is it? So were you actively lying for him at the start? Or what? Because now you've got a huge audience. Like, she actually does have a massive fan base of 30 something years, people who have followed her entire career. They're going to lose trust in her because of this. So she obviously she needs to address that. Were you lying for him? Or did you not know he lied to you and you're trying to cover it up? She needs to address that. But she did say about the mansion that he said he'd bought, the one in the Palm, and then she'd phoned up looking for him to the number she had for the mansion. The people there were like, no, he rented this from us and he's owed us money. So she said she was going to speak to him about that and ask, like, why did you lie? I would have hoped that would have been enough to waken her up, but obviously it hasn't been, because she still wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. And it's crazy to think. I genuinely do believe in this instance where there is such humongous cases against him from other women of significant abuse, there needs to be an intervention system from the police, from like a women's aid type thing. Some service needs to get in touch with her and offer support and say, you are clearly in the throes of it, and let's not leave it to the point where you're going to find out the hard way, because I think that's a brutal thing to do to a woman. I just don't know what they're going to do. But it seems a shame because she's just not coming to the conclusion on her own. As for the other podcast, it's an interesting listen actually. The ex, it seems like she did go through it with him. It seems a little bit brutal, but the stuff she was saying about him pretending to be a spy and everything is wild. Like, he literally made himself out to be James Bond to her, and to me, it is crazy. And like she said about how everything in his Instagram and whatnot is all like AI generated. He's a dangerous man, a really dangerous man, and he's not going to stop. She's convinced he's got like a multiple personality disorders type mental health situation going on. He does need psychiatric help. He's running amok. You know what I mean? The amount of criminal cases against him for his behaviour really needs to be addressed, and he is hurting multiple people. Somebody needs to stop him, and I reckon it might just be Climb Me from the Sun. Have you watched both? Let me know if you have. Sorry, this was a long one, but yeah, it was an interesting watch.